Cervical spine cars from the standing position. We're going to start with the belly breath, brace, and we're going to irradiate all your tension and focus on the cervical spine. We're going to drop the chin. We're going to scrape that collarbone nice and slow, rotate like a golfer. The right ear goes back, top of the head goes back, rotate the left ear back, lateral flexion, scrape the collarbone, pause, and repeat. Rotate left ear back, right ear back, lateral flexion, scrape the collarbone. Scapula cars from the standing position. We're going to be bilateral with the arms straight. Imagine the arms are on a shelf and they don't go up or down. We're going to start the exercise with elevation with a shrug, moving the scaps as high as you can. From there we're going to protraction, pushing the scap forward. From here we're going to go in depression and we're going to end with retraction, pushing the scaps back. And we're back to elevation, protraction, depression, and rotate. Elevation, retraction, depression. Shoulder cars from the standing position. Start by placing the non-working arm across the body. Give me a belly breath and irradiate that tension to the left shoulder. We're going to supinate, so turn the palm up and go in adduction across the body. And we're going to come up now in shoulder flexion as far as we can until we hit that block. There's mine. Once we hit the block, we're going to rotate the bicep down and try to get as much internal rotation as we can as we try to draw a big circle back and around. We should end the exercise with the back of the hand against the leg. Now we're going to push the shoulder in shoulder extension. You hit that block and we're going to slowly spin the palm in into external rotation, back in the shoulder flexion, ending back in adduction. Elbow cars from the standing position. Get a sturdy base, give yourself a belly breath, brace, irradiate that tension, and we're going to start with the palms up in supination. Rotate as much as you can, and we're going to go into flexion. Give me a nice curl as far as you can. Once you hit your block, we're going to rotate back in the pronated position and slowly extend and lock those arms hard at the bottom. Now let's go back up in the pronated position. Hit your block, supinate, and extend. Hip cars from the standing position. We're going to begin the exercise by getting nice and sturdy, belly breath, and brace, and we're going to try to irradiate that tension to the hip, okay? We're going to start with the hip going as high as we can in hip flexion, and now we're going to come out in hip abduction, and this is my range. Anything more, I'm going to be twisting. So once you hit your max range, you're going to go in internal rotation from raising the lower limb up as we circle around into hip extension. The knees park. Now we're going in hip extension. We're going to try to raise that shin high, raise the knee high, and circle back around to the starting position. Knee cars from the seated position. So sit down, wrap the arm around the working leg. We want to dorsiflex the ankle, so flex the toes towards the shin. We're trying to rotate the anterior tibialis muscle and prevent the ankle and the hip from compensating. So get in that flex position, we're going to extend, and from here we're going to rotate, flex, rotate, extend, rotate. Switch directions. Lumbar spinal cars from the quadruped position. We're going to block the upper back by putting our head on our forearms, and we're going to raise the tailbone to the sky. From here, we're going to try to brace the abdominal muscle and suck it in as we're trying to squeeze the glute and go into flexion. So we're back in extension
and up back into flexion and squeeze.
Thoracic spinal segmentation. So we're going to block the lower back so we can target more mid-back. Start on your knees, butt on the heels if you can. If it hurts the knees, you can do it from tall kneeling. But I want your hands just outside of the knees. You're going to begin the exercise from trying to push the chest as far forward into the ground as you can as you look up into extension. From here we're going to pause. Now we're going to drop the chin and try to get as much flexion in the back as we can. We're going to pause, chest back down, and search for as much extension as you can as we return to looking up position. Cars for the thoracic spine in the kneeling position. Begin the exercise by crossing your arms, bracing the core, and try to give me an abdominal crunch without pushing the hips back. So we're going to push those ribs down and crunch as much as you can. Once you hit your max, you're going to rotate like a golfer as far as you can, and then we're going to rotate the right shoulder back, stand up as tall as you can, left shoulder back, lateral flexion, back to the start. And we're going to rotate the other way. Left shoulder back, stand up tall, right shoulder back, lateral flex,